It's time for the game that takes you back in time. Let's go back. And now, here's the host of Let's Go Back, Scott Sternberg.
Hello. Thank you very much. We're glad you're here. Let's not waste any time. We have three energetic contestants on my right waiting to go. We have Nancy, John, and Ralph. How you feel today?
Good, Scott. Thank you.
Okay, starting down here with Nancy. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Scott. My name is Nancy Emelo. I'm originally from New Jersey. I've been out here for about 14 years, and I teach special education in Los Angeles.
How's your knowledge of nostalgia?
I'm sorry?
How is your knowledge of nostalgia?
It's, I have a lot of useless knowledge, and I have a lot of knowledge that I can put to good use.
Well, useless knowledge is good. That's why you're here. Hopefully you'll have the answers to the questions. John, tell us about yourself.
Hi, Scott. My name is John Gose. I missed being a native Californian by about 2 months, and I tutor high school kids in academic quizzing.
You missed being a native by 2 months. What happened?
I was born somewhere else.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. All right, well, good luck today, John. And Ralph, tell us about you.
Hi, Scott. I'm Ralph Garman, originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've been out here for about 5 years now, and I'm a bartender in the local area.
All right. 70s and 80s might be a little bit stronger for you?
I know 50s and 60s pretty well, but 70s was really my decade when I sat in front of the couch and didn't do much else and watched television.
Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you, John. Good luck to you, Nancy. Let's take a look now at the categories for round number 1. Let's start right up at the top with Primetime Moms, Songs of the Cinema, Sex Symbols, Newsmakers, and Musical Animals. I'm going to give you 10 points for each correct answer. However, if you're wrong, we're going to take the 10 points away. And hidden behind one of those decades is one of our fabulous nostalgia knickknacks. We have it in our time capsule. Charlie O'Donnell, what is it in this round?
Happy days are here again with this 1929 Model A pickup. The entire gang will hover around this exact replica with detailed interior, doors that open and close, and a tailgate which does the same. So be as popular as Richie, Ralph, Fonz, and Mr. C with your very own Happy Days Model A. It's in the time capsule right now. Back to you, Scott.
Okay, that Happy Days hot rod model can be won by one of these contestants. You guys fired up for it?
Ready.
All right, we drew some numbers before the show, and Nancy, you won, therefore you are in control. Pick a category, pick a decade, and let's go back.
Okay, Scott, let's go back to the 50s for Songs of the Cinema.
In the 1958 charmer Gigi, Hermione Gingold remembered it well with this lovable Frenchman. Nancy.
Maurice Chevalier.
Is correct. 10 points for you. Nancy, pick again.
Okay, let's go back to the 60s for Songs of the Cinema.
In the 1964 film Robin and the Seven Hoods, Frank Sinatra sang My Kind of Town about this city. John.
Chicago.
Chicago is correct. Go again.
Let's go to Newsmakers of the 50s.
In 1952, she returned after surgery to America, where 1 year earlier she had lived as a man. John.
Christine Jorgensen.
Yes, it was Christine Jorgensen. Go again, John.
Let's go back to the 60s for Newsmakers.
Life imprisonment was ordered in 1966 for mass murderer Albert DeSalvo, better known by this gruesome nickname. Ralph.
The Boston Strangler.
It was the Boston Strangler. Ralph, now on the board. Go again.
Let's go back to TV moms in the 70s. Primetime moms.
Michael Learned played a mother of 6 on this wholesome family series. Nancy?
The Waltons.
Waltons is correct. We're going to take a short break now. We find John and Nancy tied for the lead, and when we come back, we will have more of round number 1. Don't go away.
I'm Dr. Greg Cinnamone, and no offense to casual.
Call now.
Once again, more of Let's Go Back with Scott Sternberg.
All right, we're in the middle of round number 1, and Nancy, you're still in control. Decade category, please.
Okay, Scott, I'd like to go back to the 50s for Musical Animals.
And the animals they were. In 1958, this trio sold more singles than any other artist as they begged, please, Christmas, don't be late. Ralph.
The Chipmunks.
The Chipmunks is right. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. Go again, Ralph.
Let's go back to the 60s with Primetime moms.
Bea Benaderet was the mother of Billy Joe, Bobby Joe, and Betty Joe on this popular series. Ralph.
Petticoat Junction.
Correct. Go again.
Let's go to the 50s with Primetime moms.
Staying with the moms.
Yeah.
One of the great TV moms of all time was portrayed on this show starring Spring Byington. John.
December Bride.
Yeah, December Bride. Go.
Let's go back to the 70s for Sex Symbols.
All right. She was just plain Farrah Fawcett until she married this TV star. Ralph?
Lee Majors.
It was Lee Majors. Go again.
Let's go to the 70s for songs of the cinema.
The love theme from this 1972 movie was sung by Michael Jackson to a real rat. Ralph again.
Ben.
It was Ben. Ralph, now 50 in the lead. Go.
Let's go to the 80s with Primetime Moms.
Raising two daughters was not an easy task for single mother Ann Romano on this show. Nancy? Time.
Awesome.
Ralph.
One Day at a Time.
Was One Day at a Time starring.
Valerie Bertinelli and Mackenzie Phillips.
And
Bonnie
Franklin.
Yeah. The redhead.
Okay.
The redhead one. Yeah.
Go again, Ralph. Still got the points.
Let's go to the 80s with songs of the cinema.
The Ella Fitzgerald hit Cow Cow Boogie was a highlight of this 1980 movie which starred Robert De Niro as Jake LaMotta. Ralph again.
Raging Bull.
Yes. Go.
Let's go to the 80s for sex symbols.
In the 1983 film Star 80, Dorothy Stratton was played by this star. Ralph.
Mariel Hemingway.
Good. 3 in a row for you, Ralph. Building a nice lead. Go.
Let's go to the 60s for sex symbols.
And that's the time capsule.
All right.
And I'm happy to say that it is sex symbols. That is the time capsule prize. You have a chance now for the Hot Rod, that little Happy Days 1929 Model A. We're going to double it. 20 points now for you. We're not going to take the points away if you're wrong. John, Nancy, you got to sit this one out. Ralph, on your own.
Okay.
Here we go. 60s sex symbols. In 1965, this British beauty starred in Dr. Zhivago, but won an Oscar for Darling.
Julie Christie.
Is right. Congratulations, Ralph. 20 more points for you, and you get the Hot Rod model.
Oh, great.
And you're in control. Pick another decade.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s with sex symbols.
Howard Hughes once designed a bra for this co-star of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Nancy.
Jane Russell.
It was indeed. Go again, Nancy.
Okay, Scott, let's go back to the 80s with newsmakers.
When the Reagans needed a break from Washington, they could always find it at their ranch in this city. Ralph.
Santa Barbara.
Yes, Santa Barbara, California. Go again.
Let's go back to the 60s with musical animals.
Hoyt Axton wrote the song, but didn't think this group's version of Joy to the World would sell. Ralph?
Three Dog Night.
Yeah, Three Dog Night. Go again, Ralph. Doing very well.
Let's go back to the 70s, musical animals.
Once known as the Crossfires, this group changed their name just before recording their first hit, It Ain't Me, Babe. John?
Oh, the Animals. I'm sorry. No.
Not the Animals. Nancy, Ralph, you have a guess? Nancy?
Turtles.
The Turtles. It was the Turtles. Written by Bob Dylan. Thanks, Nancy. Go again.
Let's go back to the 80s for musical animals.
Okay. This country singer wrote Kentucky Rain for Elvis long before he wrote I Love a Rainy Night for himself. Ralph?
Eddie Rabbit.
Yes, it was Eddie Rabbit. Last question now, round number 1. 70s newsmakers. After 16 years of marriage, Princess Margaret divorced her husband, Lord Snowden, who earned his living as this. John?
He's a photographer.
He's a photographer. Correct. That's the end of round number 1. Well played, players. Taking a look at the scores, Ralph way out in the lead with 130. John and Nancy have 30. We'll be back with round number 2. All the scores hopefully will double, and we'll see you then. Don't go away.
Do your do-it-yourself projects look like you did them yourself? For a
Now, let's go back to more fun with Scott Sternberg.
Okay, we are back in the middle of an interesting game. Ralph way out in the lead now. Ralph doing very well. You have 130. 130, and you got that Happy Days model.
What else could be better?
Exactly. Ready for round number 2?
I am.
All right, let's take a look at the categories now for round number 2. And right at the top, we had Primetime Moms. We now have Primetime Dads, the Oscars, traveling music, the ad biz, and teamwork. This time, 20 points now for each correct answer. We're going to take the 20 if you're not right. Also lurking behind one of our decades is the time capsule prize. Charlie O, where is it?
It's another rare collectible. These championship ping pong paddles feature caricatures of President Nixon and Chairman Mao, commemorating Nixon's historic 1972 visit to China. Now you too can play games with foreign policy. Back to you, Scott.
Mao and Nixon ping pong paddles. I bet you don't have those. One of you guys will have a chance to get those. And John, you had the last correct answer. You're in control. Decade category will go back once again.
Okay, Scott, let's go back to the 60s for traveling music.
The Beach Boys sailed on to a big hit with a song about this boat. Nancy.
Sloop John B.
Correct you are. Pick again.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s for the Oscars.
He won a Best Supporting Oscar in 1953 for his role in From Here to Eternity. John?
Frank Sinatra.
Absolutely correct. Remember the name of the role.
Maggio.
Right. No extra points for that, however, John. But thanks for the information. Go again.
Let's go back to the 60s for Oscars.
This film featured the Academy Award-winning song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Nancy.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Correct you are. Go again, Nancy.
Let's go back to the 50s for traveling music.
Ricky Nelson made his music debut in 1957 covering this Fats Domino pedestrian hit. Ralph.
I'm walking.
I'm walking. Can you sing any of that?
I'm walking. Yes, indeed. And I'm talking about you and me.
All
Extra
right, Ralph,
points for that?
still in
No,
control. Huh?
no extra points for that either. No.
No, I'm sorry. But you're in control. Pick
Let's
again.
go back to the 70s for primetime dads.
LaFern DeFazio's father, Frank, was played by this former stand-up comedian. Ralph.
Phil Foster.
Phil Foster is right. 170 now for you, Ralph.
Let's
Go
go to
again.
the 60s with primetime dads.
One of the toughest guys around was Mark McCain's dad, Lucas, on this hit series. Ralph again.
The Rifleman.
Yes, the Rifleman. Played and starring,
Chuck Connors.
and who played Johnny Crawford.
Johnny Crawford.
That's right, he played Mark McCain. Ralph again, go.
Let's stay primetime dads, 50s primetime dads.
This series featured a teenage daughter raised by single dad, John Forsythe. Ralph.
Bachelor Father.
Was Bachelor Father. Remember the name of the character. See, John, you know these.
I know these.
You know the
Throw the
answers to
backup
these
in.
things. Bentley Gregg, I wish I could give you some points.
Yeah, I wish you could too.
But I can't. Not allowed here. Okay, Ralph, you're in control. Go.
Let's go to the 70s with the Oscars.
The 1973 Best Actor Oscar went to this star of Save the Tiger, and it's Ralph.
Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon. Once again, Ralph, go.
Let's go to the 80s with the Oscars.
Finishing out the Oscars, Gandhi won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Actor for this star, Ralph.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley. A little applause here for Ralph. He's doing incredibly well. Long string of right answers. Ralph, go again.
The 80s primetime dads.
This Little House on the Prairie spin-off starred former football great Merlin Olsen. Ralph.
Father Murphy.
Father Murphy, right again. Go again, Ralph.
Let's go to the 70s with the Ad Biz.
And it's the time capsule. All right, Ralph, good. Got a chance now to pick up the Mao Nixon ping pong paddles. You already have the Happy Days Model A. You got the lead.
Jazz.
What else do you want, Ralph? All right, we're going to double it. 40 points now for correct answer. We're not going to take it away if you're wrong. Again, John and Nancy, you got to wait on this one. You ready to go?
I am.
70s, the Ad Biz. This airline's controversial 70s slogan was, "We really move our tail for you."
TWA?
No, not TWA. I bet you John knows, though.
I was going to say Braniff, but I don't think.
Brand. No, that's actually a good answer. The answer was, audience, do you know? What? Continental Airlines was the answer. All right, we're going to take those Mount Nixon paddles and put them in the back and give them away some other time. You do have control, though, Ralph. Go again.
Okay, let's go to the 70s of traveling music.
In this 1972 Elton John song, he sang, "I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife." Ralph.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, right again. 20 more for you, Ralph. Go again.
The 80s traveling music.
From the film Honeysuckle Rose, it's Willie Nelson's song of life as a traveling musician. Ralph.
On the Road Again.
On the Road Again. Can you sing this one, too?
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
You know, I think Ralph can become a regular on this show. All right, still in control, Ralph. Go.
Okay, the 80s, the Ad Biz.
In the 80s, these fun fruits surpassed the Pillsbury Doughboy as the USA's favorite animated ad characters. Yay, Nancy.
Yay, Nancy. Fruit of the Loom.
Fruit of the Loom. No, not Fruit of the Loom.
Oh.
Ralph.
The California Raisins?
Yes, Ralph, it was the California
I'm
Raisins.
sorry,
Go
Scott.
again. No, you're doing real well.
Where is
330.
my mind?
The 60s, the ad biz.
A sexy siren asked men to take it all off with this shaving cream. Ralph again.
Noxzema.
Correct you are, Ralph. Go again.
Why are we here?
Let's go to the 60s, teamwork.
He left 77 Sunset Strip to spend a lot more time with his wife, Ann Margaret. John.
Roger Smith.
Correct, John. Good job. All right, John, now in control. Go again.
Oh, I'm out of control now. I'll go to the 50s for teamwork.
Married on screen and off, this star was husband to Toppers and Jeffries. John again.
Robert Sterling.
Yes, 2 in a row now for John. He played who? Remember who he played?
George Kirby.
Yes, correct. Go, John.
And let's go to the ad biz for 50s. Maybe my age will help.
Finishing out this particular category, Betty Furness became famous in the 50s for saying this while opening a refrigerator door. John again.
You can tell if it's Westinghouse.
Judges? We're going to give it to you. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse. Close enough. Another 20 for John. Go again, in control.
Let's go to teamwork for the 80s.
In 1982, he directed Victor Victoria, which starred his wife, Julie Andrews. Ralph.
Blake Edwards.
Was Blake Edwards. Go again.
Let's go to the 70s with teamwork.
And of course I say go again, knowing this is the last question now in round number 1. No, round number 2. Round number 3. I don't know where I'm at. It was Blake Edwards, wasn't it? 70s teamwork. An award-winning musician-composer, he was also married to Mod Squad's Peggy Lipton. John.
Quincy Jones.
Yes, it
Good
was
finish.
Quincy Jones. Good, John. And that's the end of round number 2. We'll take a look at the scores. Ralph in a healthy lead, 370. John has 130. Nancy, 50. We'll be back with the all-important decades round. We're going to find a winner. Don't go away.
Let's go back.
Welcome to our home. I'm
Only on the Good Life TV network.
Once again, more fun in your favorite decades on Let's Go Back.
Okay, we are here and we're ready now for the final decades round. And again, we're going to take a look at these scores. Ralph, way out in the lead. You did very well today.
Thanks, Scott.
Why? How?
I don't know, divine inspiration. I just can't explain it.
Yeah? All right, and John, you kind of came back there toward the end of round 2. I think Nancy's like hanging back, waiting.
Not my best
Not
so
your
far.
best. All right, let's now find a winner, shall we? Ralph, again, first place, which means you need 4 correct answers for the win. Okay? John, 5 correct answers for you. We'll take it. And Nancy, you'll need 6. All right? Let me also remind you that we need the answers in forms of decades. Okay? Clear? Ready to go?
Ready.
Here we go. In which decade were we introduced to NutraSweet? John?
In the 70s.
No. Ralph?
60s.
No. Nancy?
80s.
Yes, 1983. Correct. In which decade did we think twice about showering after Psycho premiered? John?
The 1960s.
Right, 1960. In which decade did Dorothy Hamill win an Olympic gold medal? Ralph?
The 70s.
Yes, 1976. In which decade did Veterans Day replace Armistice Day? John?
In the 60s.
No. Nancy?
70s.
No. Ralph?
50s.
Yes, 1954. In which decade was the Tournament of Roses parade first broadcast in color? John?
In the 1960s.
No. Nancy?
70s.
No. Ralph?
The 50s.
Yes, 1954. And Ralph, only 1 now for the win. In which decade did Senator Ted Kennedy wind up in hot water over Chappaquiddick? John?
1960s.
1969, correct. In which decade did the Soviet Union put the first woman into space? Nancy?
70s.
No. Ralph?
60s.
Yes, 1963, and Ralph, you're a winner. $500 for you, Ralph. Good game. Real good game. That decades round was very, very good. You all got in there, a lot of interesting answers. But Ralph, you did come out ahead. You got $500. You got the Mao Nixon ping pong paddles.
I got the Happy Days.
You got the Happy Days Model A. You swept us. You got everything. John, did you have a good time?
I had a terrific time. Thanks
Good.
to your staff, who were wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll
Lauren,
make
great.
sure they do that, too. And Nancy, Any last-minute thoughts here before we say goodbye?
This is really a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody. It was great.
You know, it's like you're saying goodbye to your family at the airport. I don't understand these people. Okay, once again, Ralph, our winner, $500, both prizes. I don't think anything else to say. So we'll see you next time. I'm Scott Sternberg. Remember, only the decades remain the same. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Let's go
You're watching the Good Life TV network.
When I noticed that I was losing my hair, at first I danced around the